once I saw the work, I fell in love with it. The voice of the cello really is sort of the best way I can describe it is the soul of the nation, the grieving
Mm.
soul of the nation. You'll hear at the very beginning of the piece these dissonant chords in the orchestra played by the brass and with the percussion punctuating them. And it's sort of the shock and dismay that the nation began to feel and of this event. And then comes the cello spinning this line. And we go from there to various events in King's life, including the fatal march in Memphis that preceded the actual assassination. And the assassination itself is also depicted in the work, followed by, again, the nation going into mourning, including in the mourning section, spiritual that King references very much in the March on Washington speech.
Mm-hmm.
There's a section where he says, when all of God's children can say in the words of that famous spiritual, free at last, thank God Almighty, I'm free at last. Well, those words especially haunted Oskar when he was writing. And the melody actually in the context is, free at last, thank God Almighty, I'm free at last, free at last, free at last. So it's a jaunty and upbeat spiritual. So then Oskar was faced with the dilemma of how do I incorporate something which is jaunty and upbeat into a piece which is about sorrow.
Yeah.
And so he really transforms the spiritual in a dark and somber setting. It's amazing the transformation that he gives it as it comes towards the very, very end of the piece. Following that depiction of the spiritual, there's a section where there's some sort of high-pitched, ethereal sounding chords where he's depicting in a way his aspirations for a better America, for a better world. And you can sort of sense the aspirational nature of the music as all the instrumentation begins to wend its way higher and higher and higher.
Yeah.
It's really rather remarkable. So I just love this piece. I think it's amazing. And I'm so grateful to get a chance to perform it again.